2023 was not a good year for me, but it was a very important one. I would even say it was probably the most important year I've had in my life so far. And this is because I've learned a lot about myself, about what I want and what I don't want anymore. One of the key insights I had last year was that our desires and our needs are going to change over time. It's kind of a change of identity, or call it evolution. We experience a lot of change throughout our lives. And that's, I think, why they say change is the only constant. It's a law of nature that's always going to be there, and it's always something that is going to happen. I would even say that we experience several deaths and births during our lives, because some chapters end and things that were included in those chapters are not important anymore in the new chapters that we are beginning. And I think this is why we often hear people saying things like, enjoy it as long as it lasts. The problem arises when we hold on to our old created identity, to old things, and we don't accept the changes we are going through. To be honest with you, sometimes this can be very hard because we might have a strong wish or an idea of how we want our lives to work out or be in a certain moment. And if you get attached to this idea, you might not be able to let it go and make space for ideas that serve you more and that are more aligned with what you've become. Recently, I've been talking a lot about values and alignment on this channel. It's something that struck me last year when I noticed some changes within myself. I noticed that the things I thought I wanted to do didn't align anymore with the person who I was last year and the person who I am today. And so it was that I thought I wanted to travel the world without a foreseeable end and document everything on this channel. But it didn't feel right. I think it is that gut feeling that is letting us know that something is off. And if you think over many years that this is something you should do, this is the right thing for you to do, you kind of create an identity for yourself. So the moment you notice that this is not who you are anymore, it's not easy to admit that. It takes some time to process, to know what to do now, because you kind of enter in a state of confusion, a state of dissatisfaction, because you don't know where to go from here on. If you don't accept the changes that are happening within ourselves, this is something that usually creates the suffering and the struggle. This can be very exhausting and overwhelming. But I believe there's an antidote to despair. I truly believe that we all have an inner compass. We can also call it our intuition. There's some kind of higher instance of wisdom within our guts that is connected to our brains and that is sending us signals of where to go next. And often with it, there's this fear popping up. And we usually confuse that fear as a sign that we should avoid doing something. But actually that fear is a sign of interest, a guidance that leads us into the direction we should go to end up where we want to be. And sometimes it feels like the universe is helping us to go into the new direction. Sometimes things are happening that support the new thinking we have. For example, last year, apart from the feeling that it wasn't right anymore for me to travel long term, I experienced a breakup that was hard to digest back then because of how things went. And on top of that, there were some serious health issues in my family. It's difficult when you hold on to beliefs that shape your identity for a long time and suddenly you notice you're not the same anymore. I entered a phase of strong uncertainty where I didn't exactly know where to go and what to do. It's kind of a transition phase where everything is up in the air and nothing is really clear. And I think it is very difficult for us humans in general because we like to make sense of everything and be in control. We just don't like to feel lost. But usually it's in those phases of uncertainty and not knowing where we learn the most about ourselves. It's in these stages between two chapters where we enter a stage of self-discovery and reflect the most. And this usually is a process. It doesn't happen from one day to another. It took me 8 months to understand what I really want and to get clarity again. But this could even take a few years. So be patient and take your time. If you go through pivotal points in your life right now, you might be able to relate to that. You might go for long walks, isolate yourself, or whatever you do to cope with that uncertainty and figure things out. But I want you to know, please be patient and give yourself time Don't beat yourself up. That's what I did sometimes, but believe me, it really doesn't help. It makes things just worse. So the process is the process, and it takes the time it takes. If you feel lost and you are feeling you don't know what the next step is, I want you to know that that's all right. Not knowing is part of life. There will be different stages during our lives where we don't know what to do or where to go. That's pretty normal because we are always reinventing ourselves. And for example, for many people this happens the moment they hit the age of 30. At least I've noticed in my life, once I entered my 30s, the kind of questions I was asking myself changed. So in case you are younger than me, you're still going to experience that. And if you're older than me, I guess you know what I'm talking about here. I hope you give yourself time and space without rushing things. Be open to new things, talk to the people you love, and engage in the things you enjoy doing to reconnect with yourself. Think about what comes easy and naturally to you. I'm a strong believer that we all already have the answers we are looking for. We just lost the connection to our inner child, to our innate wisdom. And it usually takes some time to tap into that wisdom again. Be open to new experiences and new ideas. Look around and try to be present as much as possible. Don't think too much about the future because this usually only creates anxiety. If you allow yourself to be present and allow things to evolve and happen naturally, you're going to see and notice things that you probably haven't noticed before. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. I hope you can take some time this year to reflect on who you are and what you want to do. And I want to encourage you to make decisions that make you happier, even though they seem scary and they are hard to make because they come with their sacrifices. I'm sending you a lot of love and I wish you all the best. Enjoy your journey, and until next time.